ground here that we're taking action. We're going to go out. We're going to be videotaping these trucks. We're going to be videotaping what they're doing. And I want everyone that wants to get the full story on this to check out not only our website, smarthealthtalk.com, and YouTube, which is /smarthealthtalk, but also the Press Enterprise. For sure, the Press Enterprise is going to be covering this story tomorrow. We're going to be sending them video and pictures of what's going on, and they're going to be posting this on their website, and hopefully we get some good coverage in their newspaper. I know a lot of people probably go to their website. But that's the Press Enterprise for Riverside County. They do a really great job. So I want to welcome Mila Peterson to Smart Health Talk. Welcome, Mila.
Thank you.
And, I think, first of all, I want you to explain to our listeners, about yourself. And, I came over here to your home. That's where we're at. We're at Mila's house, everybody. We're rocking it out over here. And Mila, I was so impressed by all the things that you have here. I mean, I'm jealous of some of the things that you have because you have chickens, you have a huge organic garden. You have fish that you're growing, and I'm assuming it's tilapia. I'm assuming those are fish that you eat.
That's correct.
And, all of these vegetables, all of this fish, your chickens, when you found out that they were going to be driving a truck down the street and fogging your neighborhood with pesticides, what was your feelings about that?
Well, I'll tell you, I just found out a day ago, and I was completely outraged that no one noticed them. Noticed
the postings.
No post. I didn't see any signs in my neighborhood. They didn't send me anything by mail. I didn't know. I had no clue that this was going on. And then I started reading about it, and I really don't understand why they didn't let us know. None of my neighbors know anything about this.
Yeah, and the fact that to me is one of the biggest problems that we have here. Besides the fact that these pesticides are not solving the problem. I mean, this is a crapshoot. This is like, oh yeah, our pesticides are going to reach every single mosquito carrying West Nile virus in the neighborhood. I mean, that is a total misnomer. That is like saying, oh, I'm going to kill this fly, that landed on my foot with a gun. It's like, is this risk really worth what we're accomplishing here? And, when you started thinking about the pesticides being sprayed on your street as they're driving this truck, fogging your neighborhood, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Well, I have 2 kids, and my 2 kids' bedrooms are right on that street. And they do sleep with their window open because it's so hot now in the nights. So we don't have the air conditioner. We open the windows. Well, because I didn't know, I'm really wondering what's going on. What am I going to do? Where am I going to take my kids? I don't know. It's just right.
So just the thought of even having your kids in this house,
yes,
whether
yes,
you shut the windows
yes,
or not,
yes,
while they're coming down the street spraying, you're just in your mind thinking, okay, my kids are now going to get exposed to this pesticide. So then what? What's going to happen to them?
You know what? I take all these measures to make sure my family is organic. We have hens. We get eggs, organic eggs. We have, like you mentioned, fish, because eventually we want to eat it. We have 2 beehives. What's going to happen with all this? I mean, nobody noticed. Nobody told me this was going to happen. It's not fair for me. It's not fair for our neighborhood, for our community. I think we do have a say-so. They're using our tax money to do this, to spray us with pesticides, and not even letting us know that they're going to do that. I don't think it's fair. I think if more people know about this, they'll hear from them, but they don't give us a chance to understand what's going on, when they're going to do it, what they're going to do it. No one knows.
Well, after hearing you, Mila, how can I help but think that the way that they notify people by putting something on a telephone pole or posting it on their website, like, oh yeah, when was the last time that I went to the Riverside County Vector Program website? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, the first time was a couple of days ago, and I'm like really big on what the heck's going on with pesticides. People do not visit that website. They do not see these signs on telephone poles. We have busy families coming home at all different kinds of hours, and there is no friggin' way that they're notifying every single person. And like you said, Mila, if everyone really knew what was going on, what do you think would happen?
I think people will get together and they would let their voice be heard, because I don't think people want to be sprayed with pesticides. I don't care what anybody says. People are conscious about this stuff. And people are scared about this stuff. At least let me do my research. Give me some time. Let's be fair about this. Not just say, boom, I put up a sign on the corner that I didn't see any signs. They claim they put signs. I didn't see any signs. I learned this from my friend Christine just a day ago. Mm-hmm. And every person I've talked to that live in my neighborhood have no idea what's going on. They never saw a sign. They never received a letter saying you're going to be sprayed with this, this, and this. I don't think it's right, and I think we should do something about it. I think we all should call and say, hey, please don't do this. Not like this. It's not fair, and it doesn't.
Well, we are planning to do something about it. We're going to be out there at 3 a.m. videotaping and doing everything we can to stop this. Although, from what I heard, they've already, had trucks going out there into the neighborhoods. Like, the trucks are in position. They're ready to do this thing big time. And, when I look at, like, how do, West Nile virus, like, how do we really control that? Well, we're talking about a mosquito here. And like these mosquitoes, where do they breed? They breed in areas of standing water. And I have talked at length to the San Bernardino County Vector Program, and they said that the number one most important thing is to eliminate breeding grounds. And I want to ask you, Mila, have you heard any kind of information, any kind of educational data? Have you received anything in the mail from the Vector Department explaining to you how to prevent West Nile virus by eliminating the standing water and breeding grounds?
Never. They never reached out. I don't think they reached out in my community at all. I think they just take it up on themselves and said, well, no one's doing anything, so let's spray. Now, they said that they don't have the manpower to deliver letters or notices to everybody, but they do have the manpower to fog everybody, and that's not fair. Like I said.
Well, and I would really like to question the cost of sending all of these trucks out with all of these expensive pesticides versus the cost of sending educational material, working with the local media. I called the Press Enterprise today, the local newspaper, and they were more than willing to cover this story. They know that people are upset about this, and they are totally supporting what we're trying to do here. And the Press Enterprise, have they received anything from the county saying, oh, could you please run stories to educate the public on how to reduce the amount of West Nile virus? I really question on whether this is something that they want to happen, that they want to have people have jobs where they're out there spraying pesticide and keep their division open. Like, this is the reason for our existence, is we're here to spray pesticides. When we eliminate that and we instead focus our energy on education, guess what? We don't need that anymore. We don't need people to have jobs to go spray pesticides. So I really question that is a big motivation with this department. So when how are you going to feel when they come down your street and that pesticide has went on your beautiful organic plants that you have out there, growing your food and your chickens and your fish. I mean, how is that going to make you feel?
Really very sad, first of all. Really mad. Really mad because I worked so much.
Yeah.
I worked so much for this, and I'm there every day, and I love everything I have. And there's a reason why I have it the way I do, because I don't want to deal with pesticides. I don't want to deal with herbicides. I don't want to deal with any of that. And I want my kids to eat an organic, wholesome food that it's not that available anymore unless you pay a lot of money. So
in order to save money and to provide for your family a healthy diet that's free of pesticides, because what is the idea of those pesticides in your child's body? I mean, how what kind of things go through your head when you think about the pesticides in their body?
Well, I'm a mother. I'm a responsible mother. I think it's my responsibility to give my child the best food possible in my hands that I can do for them. And I don't know, pesticides, I don't care too much for them. Cancer causing chemicals, that's not what I want my kids to grow up with. I'm sorry. And
do you feel that it increases their risk of different diseases?
Oh yeah, I think, in my opinion, I'm no expert, but you just have to have a little bit of logic. All this autism and allergies and cancers that we see, they're skyrocketing, and it's part of what we eat. Obviously, it's also part of our environment, but it's part of what we eat. You are what you eat. And it's important that everyone starts thinking about, what are we putting in our mouth? Why are we eating this kind of food? Why don't we go to an organic food? Why are we getting sick? Why is everyone getting sick nowadays?
And what are your kids' response when I have a garden myself. I know how much work it takes to have a garden, so that's why I'm very sympathetic to the fact that you have this incredible garden and chickens and fish and all that, the beehives out there, of which the pesticide that they're planning to spray right here in West Corona is like deadly to bees. These pyrethroid pesticides are synthetic pyrethrum that was modeled after a flower, which they try to say, oh, well, that's a good thing, we're doing that. But these are killing bees. They're killing birds. They're killing frogs. They're killing fish. They're killing skimmers. They're killing bats, dragonflies. And all of these things are actually predators for the larvae of these mosquitoes. So they come along, they spray this poison to supposedly target this, horrible virus-carrying mosquito. And in the process of that, they're killing all of these other predators, the fish, the frogs, the dragonflies, all of these things that eat the larvae 24/7, 365 days a year. So those guys are protecting us all the time. And yet you're going and killing the very thing that's helping to protect us.
See, the way I see it, we're all interconnected. If one thing goes out of whack, if something happens in our ecological system, sooner or later, it's going to affect us, or it's going to affect everything and everyone. Because that's just how nature works. We are all interconnected. We have, right here, that's why we have bees, we have chickens and the fish, and we have birds. We're always inviting birds because it's so good for my garden. I know they're going to eat the pests and things
and
like
so you
this.
feel like you have a balance going on
do.
out there. And so they're going to come along and spray pesticides and ruin all of this work, all of this balance that you have set to achieve in your garden here. And like so many people try to say, oh, kids don't want to eat healthy food. How do your kids feel about the food that you're growing in your garden and the food that you prepare?
They love it. They plant their own seeds. So
the kids are involved.
Yes, they grow their own food. And once the kids start getting involved with this, they eat all that food and they learn. They learn what's real food, where the food comes from. Food doesn't come from McDonald's, or it's not in a box. Food comes from soil. clean organic soil, and that's why you're putting in your body, and that's why you're gonna feel good, and that's why.
And how is their health?
Oh, my son suffered from asthma a few years ago. Ever since I changed to organic food, he has no problem with his asthma. None
really?
whatsoever.
That is huge.
For 3 years, he has not have to be inhaling the medicine or anything like that. So I think it's very important that people understand why you eat is why you are. That's the bottom line.
And how many parents are out there suffering with a child with asthma? What was that like for you as a mother? I mean, I can't even imagine having to watch your child go through an episode of not being able to breathe.
Yes.
I mean, how was that for you, Mila?
It was really, really bad. I worry so much for him. I feel bad. It's like...
Did you have to go to the hospital?
I do. A couple times I did have to go. And it's like watching a fish out of water, pretty much. Gasping for air all night, and I felt horrible. And I said, I have to do something about it. And I know medicine, it's okay for fixing the problem right there and then, but there's got to be something else. What's the problem? Why are our kids getting sick? Why am I getting sick? Why I don't feel my best? And we changed everything. We started planting organic food and eating organic, and we're healthy, very healthy. Actually.
I can't tell you what an inspiration you are to me. And as a dietitian, I mean, that's the reason I became a dietitian, is I believed in the power of food and the power of food to heal our body and to keep our body healthy and to have a strong immune system so that these diseases don't take over our life and our body. And when we say yes, and we take food that we know has pesticide on it. And everyone, I just want to remind you that Roundup, do you remember those Roundup commercials where we have the guy there spraying the dandelion? In other words, Monsanto and the makers of Roundup are telling us that we should risk all of these things that Mila is talking about with us, that what she went through personally with her own family of, the asthma attacks and the lower level of immune system and health, which manifests itself in all different kinds of ways, that we should risk the health of our family, our pets, and anything else living in our yard that we appreciate and love. I mean, I love the birds that wake up and sing to me first thing in the morning, and the birds are also at risk. That we're to risk all that just to kill that evil little dandelion. Oh my gosh. We must rid the world of dandelions, and we must risk our health and our chances of getting cancer and everything else just to kill that dandelion. I mean, just think about it. Aren't you feeling like a little bit tricked there when they're trying to sell you this? And then I started seeing all of this propaganda commercials for Monsanto on television. And when I see those commercials for Monsanto, I just can barely contain myself. They're making themselves out to be, we're helping you. The world cannot survive without us. And that is such a lie. Because we have actually, the Rodale Institute has proof. Go to the Rodale Institute, find out about the proof that they have that organic actually, growing no-till organic farming, not only does it reverse climate change faster than anything that we could do, because Mila here, she is helping to reverse climate change in her backyard, because the microorganisms in your soil, Mila, that because you don't spray pesticides on them, they eat carbon like candy. They love carbon, and they're pulling it from the air and locking it into the soil, where those that are using pesticide in conventional farming, they are releasing carbon by large amounts into the air. So when we say, bye-bye, Monsanto, we don't need you, we're going to transition to organic no-till farming, we are actually giving those microbes a chance to thrive and grow in the soil and start eating up this carbon and reversing climate change. And I also want to give kudos out to the Healthy Alternative to Pesticide group. We are now starting a local chapter here. Christine Lampy, whose cell phone number, everyone, is 714-308-6406. If you guys want to join us at 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock a.m., we're going to be out there facing those trucks. We would love to have you come down and join us. Please give us a call. And we need bodies down there. We need as many people as possible, but we're going to build this thing. We're going to build our Healthy Alternative to Pesticide group here. And I just want to say, that, we're doing things all wrong. We're listening to these other people. We're letting them dictate to us. We're letting them put all these poisons in our food, which the World Health Organization just came out a couple of months ago. The 7 top oncologists in the world that say Roundup is cancer causing. Okay, everybody, let's end the controversy here. Bottom line, it's cancer causing. California has just came out saying that they now have to add that to all Roundup bottles sold in California. This is cancer causing. The number 2, I don't know if you knew this, Mila, but the number 2 most used pesticide, atrazine, which is banned in Europe. Actually, Dr. Tyrone Hayes from Berkeley University, which is the 4th top university in the country over all these other universities that people may think, Yale and all these are like woo-woo, those are bad. No, Berkeley, Dr. Tyrone Hayes there was employed by Syngenta, the maker of atrazine, to research this atrazine. He experimented with frogs, put them in water with frogs and atrazine, and what happened to those frogs? Okay, big time changes started to happen. The male frogs changed into female frogs. Yeah, this is kind of shocking here, because what happened was the ovaries started growing where their scrotum was. And the ovaries literally bust through the scrotum and they could reproduce. Oh, wow. So this pesticide is turning female frogs into male frogs. And don't think that, things aren't happening inside our body, because these pesticides, they screw with our hormones. They're in there turning the switch on and off and on and off. And we need our hormones. Our hormones are critical, hormones aren't just related to like sexual type things. Hormones have to do with our immune system and all kinds of other functions that are happening in our body that keep the balance inside our body, just like Mila is doing in her garden with all of the good guys and the birds and all of the things that she uses to control pests. We don't need just pesticides. So Mila, what are your thoughts on, I know that it can sound daunting, to the average person out there on, we're going to stop this. We're going to stop the county. But, what do you feel when you're faced with something like that? I mean, do you feel like it's impossible, or do you feel like, no, we can change this?
We can change, and we have to. We have to make a stand. We have to protect ourselves and our family and our environment. This is where we live, and we pay taxes. It's not just, they're using our money to poison us, and I don't think that's fair. And we have no choice in the matter. I mean, come on. We got to do something about it. We have to stand up for what's right, and I believe that this is a right thing, not just for me and my family, but for everyone, for the whole community, for Corona and Riverside. And it's very important and crucial that we do something, I think.
And we have a Facebook page going too. It's Stop Spraying in Western Riverside
County. Yes.
Go search on Facebook, Stop Spraying in Western Riverside County, and Christine, whose cell phone number is 714-308-6406 for anyone that wants to participate in what we're going to be doing here at 3 o'clock a.m. in the morning till 5 o'clock a.m. We have the map on there. If you're wondering, is my county part of the county that's going to be sprayed? The map is on there. We have all kinds of background information, including what I have right here, which is the 8 reasons why spraying pesticide is not the solution to West Nile virus. We have all kinds of background information for you, and I want you to go and check that out and start educating yourself, because it's the lack of knowledge. Listen to Mila. I mean, you are such an inspiration to me, Mila. I mean, you are like, to me, my dream of the perfect parent, because you don't just take things at face value. When you saw that your child was getting sick, you started to question, what are the causes of him getting sick? Now, explain to us like how hard that transition was, because I want other parents out there to realize that this is not a hard and painful thing, that there can actually be so many positives that come along with it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey of this transition away from conventional type foods to organic?
Well, I first, of course, educated myself about what is conventional food versus organic food. Then the first thing I did when I found out about GMOs and pesticides and what they're doing to our bodies, and why are we getting so sick, and why are kids so hyper nowadays, and they can't learn, and they have autism and all this stuff, I came home and I threw away all that food. Anything that was conventional food or non-organic food.
Because did it even have value to you anymore?
It didn't. It didn't. Actually, what I saw was poison that I was going to be feeding my kids. And I don't think any mother wants to do that to their kids. Consciously, you cannot think like this. You can't say, well, it's just
cheaper.
this. It's cheaper, and it makes them full. And no, we can't think like this. This is going to affect not just now, the rest of their life. The rest of the life, physically, in any way, it does affect
the risk of getting diseases later on in their life.
Yes.
Even maybe they get through their childhood, they don't get cancer, but maybe in their 20s or 30s they get cancer.
Diabetes, cancer, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of information out there online, and I was outraged, and I said, no more. I'm not going to give this to my kids. I'm not going to pay $1 more for these companies to poison my family. And no way. And
right, Mila.
Now $1 that it's so, it's your money. I mean, people think, well, what can I do? Don't give them your money so they can kill you. That's how I see it. I'm not going to do it. Don't. You are voting with your dollar. If you go and buy these kind of foods, you are making them rich, and they are killing you, and they're making you sick. And that's the bottom line. So I changed the whole thing. My family was on board, so it was very easy. And of course, it's a process getting used to it. I just started a garden a few years ago. I've never been a gardener. I started with just a tomato plant, and then it grew, and then it took a life of its own. Now I have chickens, and Corona now it's giving us permission to have hens. So I get organic eggs.
What's it like to go out there and go and go, okay, what are the names of your chickens?
Cinnamon, Ginger, Lucy, and Rosie.
Okay, say, hey, what do you girls got for me today?
Yeah, the kids love it. They go and yeah, they're awesome. It's nice, and of course they're like little composters, because I clean their poop, and I put it in my compost pile, and it's, like I said, it's an ecological system that it's going.
And then do you take the kitchen scraps that you have and you make a compost?
I do, and I give it to the chickens too sometimes.
Oh yeah, they
like that.
Yeah, so some of your vegetables that maybe aren't prime anymore, but hey, the chickens are okay with it.
Okay with it, exactly.
I love it.
And the rest goes to the compost pile, and I feed them organic food, and I love it. They're healthy, and they're happy, and I'm getting.
And so, do you feel that this is something anyone can do?
Anybody can do it. I mean, if you asked me 5 years ago, I would say, no way, that's so hard. No, it's not. Anybody can do it.
And and not just that, but like the rewards that you get back from it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love just I call it a surprise garden when I go out in my garden. It's like, okay, what kind of surprises do you have for me today? And I like start lifting up leaves. I'm like, aha. And today I had, I made a stir fry with some scallop squash, some yellow crookneck squash, some tomatoes, some kale, and some onions and olive oil and a few spices. And I just cooked that up, and it was like delicious.
Yes.
And almost all those things were from my garden. Okay, now I have to ask you this. And here we have Christine. We're going to all scoot in. I want to get Christine in here. Christine, who is like, okay, we want to see you in there. All of us can get in close together.
Okay.
And Christine, go ahead and tell us again the name of the Facebook page that you set up.
Oh, Stop the Spraying of Western Riverside County.
Woohoo! And I tell you, this woman, she is incredible. She whipped that Facebook page up, and it has the map on where they're going to be spraying. If you guys are wondering, am I in the zone? And if you're listening to this and you know someone that lives in Corona, would you please give them a call and alert them that this is happening? Because those trucks, we're going to do everything that we can to stop them, and we could use some help, everyone. But, you know, us against those trucks, it's going to be a big deal. But we are definitely going to be getting some video.
But it doesn't only affect us in West Corona. It affects all the neighborhoods around because
Thank you, Mila.
So it's a community work, not just for Corona, but for Riverside, even maybe Anaheim Hills, I don't know. But just come out and support us and help us out because we need all the help we can get.
And we are not going to stop today. This is a fight. We all decided when we take this on, Christine got permission for us to start our own healthy alternative to pesticide group here, and we're looking for lots of people to join. And we are not going to stop until we have changed policy. Now, Christine, I am so glad that you're here. I mean, you're just coming in. You had quite an experience today. Christine was out on the street corner with her signs and passing out flyers. And someone happened to come up and talk to you. Now, why don't you tell us what happened when that person came and talked to you, and what has just happened right here going on behind us while Mila and I were sitting here talking to you all?
Well, we were mostly stationed near the John Adams Elementary School. We figured a good way to get the word out was to people coming to pick up their kids from school. And almost everybody today that I talked to had no idea that the spraying was happening, even though the vector control people told us they had signs at the beginning and end of every street. But we noticed some of the signs had just blown over. The crossing guard at the one intersection said he saw the sign blow over yesterday, and then the other sign that was at that intersection blew over today. But one of the people who came to us was the vector control people from Northwest Mosquito and Vector Control District.
Okay, this is with the County of Riverside.
No, it's a state agency.
Oh, a state agency.
Yes.
Okay.
And they cover 17, I think she told me 17 communities in Western Riverside.
Okay.
So it's I'm not sure.
And so this just happens to be that Christine happens to be at this place where she came up and she gave you her business card as well. And then what was your response?
Well, she was discussing, asking our concerns. Why were we out there trying to scare people about this?
Oh, I wonder.
And we had a lot of people we gave information to. This is a heavy Hispanically populated area, so we had our information in English and Spanish.
And what about them?
Their signs on the street were just in English, and they're signs about this big on the corner, which driving by quickly you're not going to read that, and people for the most part are probably leaving early in the morning to go to work when it's probably still dark. A lot of people here commute to Orange County, and I used to do that, so I know leaving at 5 in the morning to go to Orange County and get used to be you could get to Orange County before 5 in the morning, and it wasn't bad. And now you probably have to leave at 4 in the morning. Then people coming home, they're just coming home quickly to get home and get their kids and get dinner going. And again, you're not going to stop and try to get out of the corner and read what a sign says. So almost everybody I talked to today had no idea this was happening in the morning. And they were very concerned about it.
And so when you talked to her,
the vector control.
Yeah, the vector control. What was her name now?
Dr. Michelle Brown.
Okay, and you told her that we are actually going to be meeting tonight and planning.
So we invited her to come to the meeting and talk to people about their concerns. So she just now left, but a lot of the concerns I've had is that spraying for adults is the least effective method. We need to, do a year-round program and keeping the larva population of the mosquitoes down. And she admitted that that would be her preference too, but that people just aren't aware of this, and they don't have, they let water in their backyard stand, and they don't have mosquito fish, or try to treatment to the water, and they're breeding mosquitoes in those. So we need to educate people more about that issue. They patrol. I think she said they check a lot of the Santa Ana River, the river bottoms, the creeks and ditches. So they're patrolling all those. That is in more of a public purview, but they don't have control over people's backyards and what people do. So now they're going to go through and spray people's front yards. They can't spray in the backyard. But my question was then, if you're only spraying the front yards and you got mosquitoes in the backyards, because she said there wasn't enough drift. She said that drift wouldn't kill the mosquitoes, but if the mosquitoes come in contact with this pesticide, they're getting 60% kill. Some of the research I read is that that's hardly effective at all. And what mosquitoes survive, you're going to be breeding stronger mosquitoes.
Someone's calling that wants to join us tonight at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and remember, everyone, Christine's number is 714-308-6406. If you want to join us out there, or you have any questions for her, want to join the Healthy Alternative to Pesticide group that we're forming, because we are going to continue with this fight, because this is not just in this one neighborhood. They'd already sprayed like 3 other neighborhoods before this.
They've sprayed in Riverside a few times. They sprayed, I believe it was the 10th or 11th or 12th in La Sierra area of Riverside, just about a mile away from where I live. And they also sprayed in the Canyon Crest area, I believe on the 15th or 16th. And then on the 17th, they sprayed in Corona and Norco. I don't know exactly what areas then. I heard also of some spraying in Nuevo. So I don't know how often they're spraying. I was just become aware of this on the 14th, when someone who had lived in the La Sierra area had told me about this. But before then, I was totally unaware of this Northwest Mosquito and Vector Control District. The lady said that, well, they're trying to get the word out. And I'm going, well, someone who even, I'm a fairly aware, person. I belong to several community groups, and I was totally unaware of this until a week and a half ago. So she was saying, well, we should be aware of this. We should be paying attention to their Facebook page and their Twitter, and then they're putting the notices out on the street, which the notices, a lot were being vandalized, which I know isn't their, responsibility, I guess. But somehow they need to notify people, like ask if it's a way to,
Well, to me, that's unacceptable, the fact that they're even spraying. And it's a shot in the dark that they're actually getting the mosquito that has the West Nile virus. And one of the things I learned from one of our previous guests was that the symptoms of pesticide poisoning are similar to the symptoms of West Nile virus. And so people that are getting exposed to these pesticides may start to feel nauseous and have headaches and feel sick to their stomach. And they think they're coming down with West Nile virus, when really they were exposed to these pesticides and are now getting pesticide poisoning symptoms.
I brought that up to the vector control. She said that, she poo-pooed a lot of that, and that there is positive identification. If you go into a doctor, they can positively identify if you have West Nile virus. Although, as you said, a lot of people may not think to go in and get it tested. They just assume they have West Nile virus and stay home, or they may think they have the flu. I understand the symptoms are very similar.
And I really see that from when we, even Christine and I were reviewing some of the cases of people that had severe consequences of West Nile virus. And when you look at those people, they're usually 75 plus years old. They have multiple other problems. Their immune system
September
is low.
10th, Press Enterprise had an article on September 10th that there was one fatality in western Riverside County, a 77-year-old man, and it said he also had other health issues.
And so this is typical. This is what the doctor told us that a lot of times will happen is they'll just swab their throat and say, oh, there's West Nile virus there. And really, they're not identifying an actual real case where they have like a bite that they have, a mosquito bite that they show. So this is, when we're looking at the risk, this is really what it comes down to me. The risk versus how many people are really getting sick, how many people are really dying, how much money is really being spent here? Are we using our resources wisely? Are we looking at a sustainable system long term? I want protection all the time. And one of the things Mila and I were talking about was the fact that we're killing the predators. We're killing the frogs and the fish and the birds and the bats and
beneficial insects. There's green lacewings are a very good general predator, beneficial predator. For aphids and the Asian citrus psyllids, which are an insect attacking our citrus trees and carrying another disease. They go around they're on all kinds of plants, and they're very active at night, so they're going to be killed off by this, and they're a great predator on mosquitoes. The honeybees, even though they're doing this in the middle of the night, and they're claiming that the honeybees are all in their hive, but honeybees have certain ones that stay by the opening of the hive, and then they're flapping their wings really fast and fanning the air into the hive. And then there's other bees throughout the hive that are also fanning with their wings and circulating the air. So they're going to bring this air with the pesticides into their beehives. So I brought that up, and they're saying, well, they didn't think there were any beekeepers in this area. And I'm like, no, lately, in the past several years, they've been promoting backyard bees, beekeeping a lot in all kinds of communities. Also, besides just your bees, kept bees, domesticated bees, there's the native bees. With all the problems we're having with the European honeybees, which are the domesticated bees, the native bees we're hoping to help, take over a lot of the pollination tasks that the honeybees aren't doing, because they have all these colony collapse disorder. But this is going to hurt them.
They're dying off. Yes. They're dying off by the millions.
From all kinds of stressors in our environment. From what I understand, it's not just one thing. But the native bees are also having problems, and then you're going to spray them too. They don't have hives to go into. Most of them are solitary. They might have a tunnel in the ground, but a lot of them, stay in. I know the squash bee, which looks just about the same size as a honeybee, and the male squash bee will go into a squash flower. If you've ever seen a bee taking a nap in the squash flower, that's probably the boy, and he waits there. And the squash flowers close up mid-afternoon. And then it's first thing in the morning they open up, and he's there waiting for the girl to show up. So he's got his little apartment ready to have their
Come on in. Come on in, sweetie. I got everything ready for you.
So if he's there, they're spraying between 3 and 6. These flowers are opening up right then, and there's the dew. They're probably going to get affected.
So this is very upsetting to me. We're talking to Mila. She has some very serious concerns about the fact that she didn't know about this. Her children sleep right next to the street with the window open.
On these hot days, almost everybody's got their windows open at night.
And so the thought of this pesticide coming right in full strength, right from the truck into the window, and our children are breathing this while they're sleeping. Our pets are outside; they're exposed. And drift. I mean, I have heard that drift can go as far as a mile away. So this. It's not good. We're not spraying the backyards. It's
she said that the spray is just getting the front yard. Isn't some of it drifting the backyards? And she said no. So she said, people who
that right there is a red flag to me. Yes. I'm sorry. These people are just they're telling us stories the way that they want to tell the stories. There's no way this can be the truth. There's no way you can be spraying in the front yard and it's not going to the backyard.
And she also claimed that if a bee the mosquito is hit by the pesticide, it is almost 100% killed. And so I asked, well, as you spray and the spray gets, thinned out and more thinned out, as it goes farther away from your sprayer, aren't you going to get to a point where it isn't going to kill the mosquito? And then, but it's getting enough of a dose that perhaps you're,
creating
the resistant mosquitoes. Also, some of the reading I was doing that, and I learned from the Healthy Alternatives Pesticides group up in Santa Clara, and also another group, the Beyond Pesticides group, that I just lost my train of thought.
That what some of the repercussions of this pesticide with the mosquito, is that what it is about?
Oh, that when the mosquitoes are exposed to this pesticide, it compromises their immune system. So if they're not killed outright, but it makes them sicker, and they actually get more virus in their saliva. So when they do bite you, they are actually transmitting a stronger amount of virus.
Oh my gosh, that is like really freaky. And not just that, but I recently learned that like Lyme disease, mosquitoes, and someone that gets Lyme disease, we're finding that there's different types of these diseases being transmitted that can be then passed on to someone else during sex. Which is like really freaky to me. So, the thing is, what we're talking about here is we're breeding super mosquitoes. We're breeding mosquitoes that have an even more virulent type of virus that they're transmitting to people.
And by killing them off and killing all a lot of the beneficial predators tonight, you're going to throw the whole environmental balance out of whack. So normally you've got a lot of these other organisms that are keeping the mosquito population in control. But by next season now, we not only have less of them to help keep the mosquitoes in control, what mosquitoes have left are perhaps more resistant. So they're going to have to come through with stronger and stronger pesticides to take care of the issue.
Yes, and the fact that we're killing off these predators. We think that all this stuff is just like going to bounce back and it's going to be just the way it was, when we may never be able to restore these systems back to the way that they were. So we have a couple of minutes left, and first of all, I just want to thank Mila so much for sharing your life with us and your concerns. You are an incredible mother. I hope other people were inspired to start taking action the way you have, growing a garden and taking care of their family with organic foods. And Christine, why don't you go ahead and remind everyone about the Facebook page?
The Facebook page is Stop the Spraying of Western Riverside County. I was inspired to set up one because there's a Stop the Spraying of Orange County. They've been dealing with that over there. So you can find our Facebook page. We will...
and it's open to the public right now, so if you want to join, please join us. And and please check back to that page too, because we see us ladies here. We got another great woman right over here. We are pretty friggin' strong. Okay, we can make some stuff happen, and don't put anything by us. And please check the Press Enterprise for some of our video from what we're up against at 3:00 in the morning. We're going to have all that right up there for you. So thanks for tuning in to Smart Health Talk, everyone. Conspiracies online, out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
2015, a banner year for beheadings in Saudi Arabia. According to Amnesty International, beheadings have surpassed 175 at a rate of one every 2 days. Many had hoped that new Saudi King Salman would have